I've never been able to explain what happened that day. It still feels like it was just yesterday, but at the same time, it's been years. I was living alone at the time, in a small apartment in the city. Nothing fancy, just the usual one-bedroom setup with a tiny kitchen and a bathroom that had seen better days. I never thought much of the apartment. It was just a place to sleep and store my stuff. But one day, something happened that would change the way I saw everything around me. It started with a simple decision. I wanted to change the mirror in my bathroom. It was one of those standard rectangular mirrors that had been hanging there since I moved in. I had noticed it was getting dirty no matter how much I cleaned it, and I thought it would be nice to get something new. So, I went to the store, picked up a fresh mirror, and came home eager to swap it out. The moment I took the old mirror off the wall, I felt this strange, heavy silence in the room. The wall behind the mirror was covered in a layer of dust, the kind you only get when something has been untouched for a long time. I grabbed a rag to wipe it down before I installed the new mirror. That's when I saw it. There, in the corner of the wall, were words. They were hastily scribbled, as if someone had written them in a rush. I froze. It was so random, so out of place. The writing was messy, barely legible, but I could make out the words. If you're reading this, it's already too late. My heart stopped. I stared at those words for a few moments, trying to convince myself it was just a joke. Maybe the previous tenants had written it as some sort of prank. But as I wiped more of the dust away, the words became clearer. And that's when I started to feel that creeping unease crawl over me. I should have just walked away, forgotten it ever happened, but something made me pause. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was stupidity. I don't know. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. I put the new mirror in place, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was different. It felt like there was someone or something else in the room with me. That night, I had trouble sleeping. Every creak of the apartment seemed louder than usual, and the silence felt thick, almost suffocating. I kept imagining someone watching me, waiting for me to do something. The walls felt like they were closing in, and every time I closed my eyes, I saw that phrase in my mind. It's already too late. The next morning, everything seemed normal. I brushed it off as an overactive imagination. But when I went into the bathroom to freshen up, I felt a chill in the air. The mirror, which had been fine the night before, now seemed off. The reflection looked too sharp, too clear. It was as if I could see every tiny detail of the room, every shadow, every crack in the walls. I caught myself staring at my reflection for a little too long, and when I blinked, it felt like the image didn't quite line up with my movements. That's when I noticed something else. Behind me in the reflection, I saw a shadow move. It wasn't just my own, it was something else. I turned around quickly, but there was nothing there. My heart pounded in my chest. I felt a sudden urge to leave the bathroom, but something kept me rooted to the spot. It was like my body was betraying me, forcing me to stay and watch. As the day went on, things only got worse. I kept seeing things out of the corner of my eye, shadows that shouldn't have been there, movements that didn't make sense. At first, I convinced myself it was just my nerves, but the longer I stayed in that apartment, the more it felt like I wasn't alone. Like there was something else in there with me. Something waiting. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling. I turned off all the lights, crawled into bed, and tried to sleep. But as I lay there in the dark, I heard something. It was faint at first, like a whisper. I couldn't make out the words, but it sounded like someone was calling my name. I shot up, my heart racing, but when I looked around the room, there was nothing. Just the empty space, the quiet darkness. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was when I turned to face the mirror again. It was the first time I'd dared to look into it at night. And that's when I saw the reflection. It wasn't me anymore. I don't know how to explain it, but the face staring back at me wasn't mine. It looked like something else. A version of me, but not quite. The eyes were wrong, cold and empty, like they were staring into nothingness. I reached for the light switch, but before I could, the image in the mirror changed. A dark shape, like a hand, appeared behind me in the reflection, reaching out toward me. I screamed and ran out of the bathroom, slamming the door behind me. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there, in the darkness, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. I wanted to leave, to get out of the apartment and never come back. But something told me that no matter where I went, it would follow. The next day, I packed up all my things in a panic. I didn't care about the apartment anymore. I just wanted to get away. But when I got to the door, I stopped. I glanced back at the bathroom, the mirror, the shadow. I couldn't leave without knowing if I was just going crazy, or if there was something more to it. I opened the bathroom door slowly, not sure if I wanted to see what was inside. When I looked into the mirror, it was just normal. My reflection was me, as it always had been. No shadows, no figures. Just my tired, anxious face staring back at me. But then, as I turned to leave, I saw it. Written on the glass of the mirror, in small, almost invisible letters. It's still not too late. I'm still here. I couldn't take it anymore. I left that day. I haven't been back to that apartment since. I don't know what it was, some kind of prank, a psychological break, or something else. But I'll never forget the feeling of being watched, of something waiting. I don't know if it's over. I don't know if it's really too late. But I can't shake the feeling that whatever it was, it's still out there. And I don't think I'll ever feel safe again,